Oh, you all can do better than that. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. For those of you who I don't know, I'm Debra Haffner. I'm the president of the Religious Institute, and I am incredibly honored and moved and also sad to be here today to participate in this service for my dear friend of more than 30 years, Dr. Doug Kirby. And I just am seeing so many of you come in. How many of you have knew Doug for at least 25 years? So, so it is a remarkable room full of people. We are gathered today because when events like this happen, we need the blessing we can give one another when we lose someone among us. We need the time to share our concern and support and to comfort and to love. We are gathered today because of Doug's untimely death. But it's not really death that brings us together, but life. Doug's life and the lives we each shared with him. We need each other to take this time to ritualize Doug's death and to celebrate Doug's amazing life. To stand with dear Gail and Catherine and Cameron and Rob to let them know the amazing influence Doug had on our work. And Gail, I want you to know that I cannot think of another person who would bring together this cross-section of leaders in both the domestic sexuality and teen pregnancy field and the international HIV/AIDS field. Doug had an amazing influence, I think, on all of us, both domestically and internationally. We're here to share with each other our loss of this amazing man who we all know died doing what he loved. Climbing one of the highest mountains in the world, stopping for a glass of water, or actually probably a drink out of a canteen of some kind, looking out at that moonlit vista, and then exclaiming in Doug-like fashion, "Isn't life great?" And then he died. As I have read countless tributes to Doug in the last 3 months from you, I have been awed by how many people considered Doug to be one of their closest friends. How many of you remarked not just on his amazing work in the world, but on his integrity, his brilliance, and his humility. But also, how many of you ever took a walk with Doug Kirby? So the walks we shared with him, the intimate talks, the chocolate desserts we ate with him, and how much as colleagues we value Doug's interest and curiosity, not just about our work, but about you and your families and your hopes and dreams. Doug took huge delight in his family, the work he was able to do in the world, and the beauty of the natural world. Doug did not have to remember to be grateful like so many of us. I never had a discussion with Doug that didn't end with him telling me how wonderful his life was. Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote, "I did not ask for success, I asked for wonder." That was Doug. I too considered Doug one of my closest friends, and I had the honor of co-officiating at his funeral in January and then doing another service for some of you in this room at a sexuality educators retreat. It was Doug who first introduced me to the Unitarian Universalist Church. It was Doug who encouraged me to listen to my inner voice, urging me to go to seminary, even though Doug himself had no belief in such voices. And Doug was one of you who stood with me most closely during my most difficult last year. I can't imagine that either Doug or I could have predicted when we met at Airlie House in 1980, and there are a few of you who were at that meeting. Connie was there, and I think you were probably there. Or when Doug and I worked together at the Center for Population Options in the 1980s on school-based clinics and life planning, and then on AIDS education. I don't think we could have imagined that one day I'd be a minister leading his memorial service. I'm not sure I believe it myself. Poet Mary Oliver wrote a poem that I shared at the end of Doug's funeral service. She wrote, "To live in this world, you must be able to do 3 things. To love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones knowing that your whole life depends on it, And when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. May this time together help us to celebrate and to let go.